Hi.
Hey, Glenn.
Hey.
Is that Danny?
It's Danny,
That's me.
Jared,
Mike.
and
Mike's here too.
I think Brian might be listening in.
Hey, Mike. Hey, Brian.
Yeah, Glenn. I was thinking last night when you were talking about the radon gas, and I realized that with the nuclear reactor, that was like planned for that thing to be destroyed like that, and because they said that the area, like the radioactivity increased like over 1,000 times the normal percentage, and the name of the facility, somebody sent me a PM on YouTube. He said it's spelled Fukushima.
Fukushima.
Fuck you, Shima. And he says, from what he says, it seems like it's saying "fuck you, China" or something. I don't know.
Well, the person that has some knowledge of the area of Japan.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, that person has stated in the past that Japan is a microcosm of the entire world, and any event that is going to happen someplace happens part of Japan first. If there's any truth to that, question had to be, what is the part of the world that this accident, quote unquote, is occurring, is in danger next? His answer last night was it is part of Japan that represents the border between Russia and China. Does that mean that the radioactivity blowing in the wind is moving up the coast and will affect the area where China and Russia come together?
Mm-hmm.
Coast, which is, I think, the Kamchatka Peninsula or something like that.
Yeah.
Along the coast there, where Japan and China and Russia have always kind of argued about who owns all the islands out there. But that was his view last night. My own suspicion is that it is more likely linked to something in the Mediterranean that will affect North Africa, Tunisia, Libya, Egypt, Morocco, the other end. Mm-hmm. But we have yet to see the final outcome of what they're planning in Japan. At one stage, they were mentioning 88,000 people were missing. Now it seems to be down more around 8,000 or 9,000 people.
Yeah.
Death toll is creeping up towards 1,000. Admitted that death toll so far.
Yeah.
They also claim that the reactor itself has not been affected, even though the building in which it's contained is crumbling as a result of an explosion following another earthquake, 6 point something magnitude. So it's part of the modus operandi not to make judgments on the first day.
Yeah.
To observe, analyze, and conclude. Because most people do the opposite.
Conclude, analyze, observe.
Conclude, then they observe, then they don't want to know.
Yeah. Well, I just watched the news clip, and the reporter claimed that, like, in that part of Japan, I think it's called Kobe. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but they had earthquakes in that area before, and they were kind of like more prepared in a way. Like the guy claimed that they built like some buildings that came down, like they just rebuilt them. Like I don't know how they rebuilt them so quick like that, but they said that I don't know the materials that they made, it's made for that type of thing.
Well, the most interesting part to me is that the city is named Senai. Sen being the sun, as in daughter and son.
Yeah.
And AI as artificially disseminated or artificial intelligence. Since that's what they're working towards, is a sun that is contained within the body of a woman and assisted in managing its affairs with a third party, symbolized with the medulla colored the color of silver or nickel. Seems to me to be more likely to have been induced the cataclysmic event rather than being something deriving out of coincidence. Nature, by the way, is a word that is fabricated to say just the opposite of what people believe the word says. Since Na is mu 1, P can be an S, as in ST or 1, 2. The word is ruse. Ruse of the new one is nature. So that tells me it's not, quote unquote, natural. Nature is being manipulated. In fact, the end product of a ruse finds in Jerusalem. The Alam being Elam, capital city of a country once called Media.
Well, do you know what that area was like? What was specialized in that area?
No. All of the background information is being collected now. Probably another 10 days to 2 weeks before. But in making decisions, there's no need to hurry. Has to observe the thing from all directions.
Yeah.
To then spend the necessary time analyzing what it's all about, Alfie. Tell me what it's all about.
Well, over here in New York, it's in New Jersey. I think the tri-state area is like flooding going on.
Yeah, everything is waterlogged below Ogdensburg, Messina, and Watertown. So the setup for the flushing of the Great Lakes toilet is all in place.
Yeah, seeing that.
Now, does that mean it will happen this year? Happen if somebody pushes the button. My suggestion is that somebody linked to Lake Superior, such as a Mother Superior, Superior that props things up like propane, gas, Superior propane, may have something to do with this. If they light the switch, gas will explode in a chamber that will cause the locks to collapse or the peninsula to collapse. Makes more sense to me that they're going to do the locks first, like any good burglar, then follow up later. The main event could very well be the loo for April Fool or mayhem in May. Follow up, of course, 11 being such an important number to them. November 11th, 2011, the main event. There is no place in the northern United States that I can see that isn't waterlogged. All the way from North Dakota, New York at least, another version of waterlogging along the eastern boundary, along the Atlantic Ocean, on to Georgia. Be affected by something coming from Titanic. In any event, all of the signs are there. My view that the safest place in the United States, if there is such a thing, when we're talking about water events, Ogdensburg area, New York. But there are, of course, other events. People who live high up in order to escape water may be surprised that they are confronted with radon gas.
Yeah, because I think like Pennsylvania over here is like high ground.
And Colorado having both the word Lou and Radeau, the raft, in it. Aspen, I guess, suggests the beginning of the growing of deciduous trees. The center which the military has set up their command structure, because they've been told, I guess, that they'll escape water. Water is not the only possibility. Rocks falling from the sky, a nova, which is definition of Gomorrah, with fire and brimstone coming out of the ground, also possibilities. Cascade Mountains and the Rocky Mountains cascading, possibilities as well. So each place is to have its turn. The only safe place is below the 8th degree parallel north, direction of the southern hemisphere, or capped continent will be the end product of what's left of the V Empire above Ogdensburg, point of the V, Labrador, which has Radu in it, and Lab. Well, on the eastern side, Great Slave Lake, western side. That stretch is supposed to be sitting above the Canadian Shield, at least from the 44th degree parallel north to the 53rd degree parallel north, the Canadian Shield. Safety, for those who care about being safe, doesn't necessarily mean no danger whatever, because isostasy causing the rising might save the continent, but it still will shake up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it rises. But it, if one were writing a script for a movie, I'll talk to Mike about that in this location close to Hollywood. When we're writing a script for a movie, the plot has all been laid out. Just waiting for the command to start. Have had the social aspects of destruction of the United States put in place about 1976. Things like illegal immigration and crisis, the stock exchange crisis, colony collapse, the bees. All of these things have gone through and have had an effect on the economic strength of the United States and the employment possibility. Even though the financial picture seems to be coming back to was for the credit crunch, unemployment still remains at its worst periods. U.S., for all intents and purposes, has been demoted. Text of the rest of the world hasn't completely lost its position. For one, China has moved up and India has moved up, both seeing themselves as the successors, and at least as second place or first place. Since both of them are on the side of the northern hemisphere, they'll have their quote-unquote natural disasters as well as physical disasters there, it's more likely to be around weapons. Fourth, Pakistan and India, South Korea, and who else has secretly stockpiled nuclear weapons? We'll still need to find out whether Gaddafi really gave up his. People who are verge of being removed from power are of his age. They don't care much. Time comes, he may just push the button.
Push the button for his area, you think?
Well, it all depends what they have. Thing one cannot discount is the recessive spies have been located across the United States. We're not talking here about bad people. My belief that there's no such thing. There are bad programs in people. Seems to be more of those than good programs in people. There can always be some internal activity. Saw, for example, Fort Hood, officer in the American, I think it's Marines, shot his own fellow workers there. Been known, according to the latest information, it had been known for a while that he was radicalized, Islamic view of things. Being Amish stocking up on dry goods. Amish, of course, E in their name, has Islam. Friends, English translation of the word ami. Middle, it has the French word vient in friends.
Yeah.
As well, nuns. The nuns may end up being the suicide bombers' future in America, already wearing the equivalent of a burqa.
Nobody would suspect them, I guess.
Yeah, they seem to have the favor ports of entry. Guards been trained. Vigo de Vaudreuil, which is the center for training of the Benedictines, east, being Mount Angel in Oregon, west. They are the descendants of Viator, I should say, Viator, who were the first basic religious organization set up for the purpose of creating a version of the final slave brackets assassin 20th century. The border guards, basically the underground system belonging to the religious system, would explain why their minister, so-called Minister of Public Safety, is called Vic or Victor, comes from Viator. You remove the A and put in a C for caca. Viator, Victor, Victoria. His last name is written T-O-E-S, T-O-E-W-E-S, toes. But in fact, they insist it should be pronounced Taze. Guess that's because it's like a taser gun. It doesn't really kill you, it just knocks you. More important, it's linked to toes. Since human beings, prior to the Ice Age, evolved from the ocean, fish becoming eels, that's why the expression of making a footstep going forward, your heel, your connected eel, is the first to touch the ground. Then, of course, after the Ice Age came Noah's Ark, and foot, the second version is the arch, touches the ground. Finally, at the end, you're creating 10, have the toes, 5 on each foot. So it's not surprising to me that the man who supposedly wrote the letter to Jenny saying she wasn't allowed to come into Canada till her exclusion order expired, has that name. Some of his subordinates run the top secret department called CSIS in Canada. CSIS, Canada's equivalent of the CIA, is supposed to be spies on people outside the country. In fact, the knowledge that I have of them, they protect the system rather than the people of Canada. Just like the Canadian IRS, which is called Revenue Canada, protects the system, not the people. You write to them, they don't even bother responding. Of course, revenue is linked to the word Venus. This is number 2 to Mother Superior. Mother Superior, the first rock from the sun, Mercury. Mother Priest. Literal translation of the letters that make up Mercury, from French to English. We're in a mess. We're not being managed by managers appointed to help the people in either country. Supreme Courts have the hammer. Congress, the Senate has the hammer. They're all chosen people, opposed to people that the average person would vote for. 100 of them matches the word Lu. So we're in a mess. Messina, the place in Italy, but suggestive that mess surrounding upper New York as well. Messina at one end, Watertown at the other end of the St. Lawrence Seaway. Got 31, I think, nuclear generators piled up at Owen Sound on Georgian Bay, Huron, waiting to be transferred to Sweden for dismantling. I suspect if the flushing comes first, we're going to get basically the taste of a nuclear reactor, water broken into pieces like they have in Japan. I have we reassembled all of the material composes my application for sponsoring Jenny come into Canada and sent it back to the Department of Immigration with a note that been trying to file this since last summer, but the Valkyries who run minister's office seem to have other ideas in mind and kept sending them back to me. The minister ever found out about it, of course, he would probably say what he has recently said about another event that happened in Canada that involved him, and that was just an over-exuberant flunky, political flunky, did things without his permission. This supposedly recent acquisition to his staff is not as recent as the media would like us to believe, because my information is that his relationship to the minister back to a time when the minister wasn't even in government. He was a member of the opposition. This guy worked in his office 7 or 8 years rather than 7 or 8 months, they'd want us to believe. Looks to me like the Conservative Party in Canada is going to call an election because they'll be defeated on a vote of confidence, which they orchestrated themselves. When you think about it, why would a political party organize their own defeat, leaving management to the opposition? Very much something that reminds me of Senator Warner running off to see his nephew, who was also a senator in the U.S. at the election of Barack Obama, telling him not to contest his loss, trying to let the Democrats take power. We're going through the same thing here. It's time that the liberals take power. Why would they be doing this? Unless they know that there is a cataclysmic event around the corner that is being orchestrated, that they don't want to be in power when it happens. They want the other team to take the blame. That's one possibility if you observe all the facts. But the other possibility is they're not even in charge of their own departments, that, in fact, Valkyries are running the show as clerks, mailing clerks, administrative assistants, his office, that their orders don't come from the minister, but they come from an organized group of Valkyries that run the show. And those Mother Superiors at the Grey Nuns could very well be are giving instructions to their clerks in government to do certain things. Presidents, prime ministers, premiers, they could very well be getting instructions directly. But the department is being run by the clerks. Most of the leadership don't get to see the evidence they should be getting in order to make decisions. The U.S., the person who now controls all of the archived data about the world, is a woman, supposedly a woman on the surface. Probably more likely a wee man who likes to be called by her nickname Tish, which is simply the word shit scrambled.
Yeah, it is.
So, what information is the military getting from Tish? What information is the president getting from Tish? There are so many Patricias in my world, I can't even count them. That's simply Trish. The letter R is added to tell you who owns them. Our shit. Tish. Our shit. They run the counters at the post office. They run counters at the police departments, city halls. They're all over the place. So what information comes to the police that gets seen by the police? What information that comes to an insurance company gets seen by the insurance company? How much of it is called and manipulated before it's ever put in Sider's hands? Sider gets to decide on partial information. That's a recipe for disaster. Observe, analyze, and conclude. One must be confident that they are getting access to all the information, not just the one your secretary wants to give you.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah. In your case, they're manipulating the documents, copy and pasting stuff afterwards, and
Yeah.
so.
So what now that you turned that paperwork in?
You gotta wait, right?
You know yourself how much you've tried to get your situation normalized by meeting their demands for paperwork. But you have no knowledge of where that stuff ever went.
Yeah.
The minute it enters their department, it could just as well go in a filing cabinet as in a garbage can.
Yep.
The last information I got was an email saying that they received information, but there was some other information I had to give them. And I gave them that, and I have never heard from them since.
Well, that's exactly the same kind of comments that I got in applying for Jenny's sponsorship. Is I get a telephone call or a letter saying, in order to tell you about your wife's situation, we need to have a paper signed by her that says we're allowed to share that information. In the meantime, we're sending you back your entire file. So you've wasted 3 months. Instead of them saying, we have a file on which we cannot proceed until we receive this paper, but no, they send you back the file. And when I call up and say, what's the status of my wife's sponsorship to this country, the department says, we have no file. What do you mean you have no file? You have given me a number for the file you've opened. You have a deposit done through the Royal Bank of Canada directly into your bank account, from which I have sent you a receipt. Where's that stuff? I don't have any answers.
I sent out an email to them. Hopefully, they'll get and respond, but I doubt it. If they say in their own website, we can't communicate with us. We only communicate with you.
Yeah, they're just trying to, now when you send everything back, it's just going to start from like they never had it and go through all that whole waiting period. That's all they're trying to do.
Yeah.
Why would you give up? It makes no sense. So
I don't know how long they're gonna take for me. If I'm looking, like how you said, they're setting up everything up like in New York over here. Like I watch on the news and I see it before my very eyes. Flooding everywhere, and it's being set up, and I'm like, well, I have to get out of here.
Hey, do you really believe that it's a coincidence that they called the first president of the United States George Washington? George is the word regal.
Yeah.
Wash is a cleansing. Ton is 2,000 pounds. That's the year, the time we're in, the year 2000. Have to go to the second decade. So they're telling you off the bat that there's a place on the northwest corner called Washington. The place that is central to politics is called Washington. The first president is called Washington. Is that an accident?
No.
When you examine who Washington was a member of the Corps of Engineers. He was a specialist in the building of canals that redirect water from the place it is to a place they want it to be. Now you have the possibility, year 2011, sending water from Lake Superior directly to Flushing, New York, place where they play tennis.
Yeah.
Since an I can be an O, and you can read from right to left. Sun stem.
Yeah. And the New York Mets play in Flushing Meadows.
Yeah. The Mets is stem, as in stem cells.
Yeah.
So anybody who still believes that this is a coincidence theory better have their head examined.
Well,
Yeah. That's why you're looking at the one.
I don't believe it's a coincidence. Me, I can't even deal with people who are still saying, "Oh, it's." If people look at this information and still saying, speaking to the contrary, then either they are working for the system and just have some type of agenda, because you can't have a functioning brain and look at this and just.
Yeah. You can also look at the that $1 bill with Washington on it, and he's in the middle of the 11s, right? So there's 4 11s there. So it's kind of like the 11th month and the 11th year. He's in the middle, so it could be the 11th day.
What day was it when the Japanese earthquake occurred?
What happened?
11th. Yeah. That was the 11th.
9/11, 7/11.
And there was something on 1/11/11. It was like the anniversary of when the earthquake happened in Haiti.
Yeah, it's called Hillary.
LL.
Capital or large I is like a 1.
Yeah.
L and L are like ones in lowercase. A is the first letter of the alphabet. That's 4 ones in a row.
Yeah.
Oh, that's linked to. I used to mention it before. I haven't heard you mention it lately, but it was the Neptunes, Ocean 11.
Yeah.
That tells me a lot. When I look at that, it's like says a lot.
Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
Thieves robbing a casino.
As in sack.
Cass as in Cassiopeia.
Yeah.
Cass as in sack. Red bag. N-O.
That O is important. Like I think of an egg, goose egg, Mother Goose's egg.
Yeah. To have an O is like the egg. The G is like a genetically engineered egg that has a platform on it. Quantum mechanics, it's called entanglement. You can be in 2 places at once. You can be on the inside and you can be on the outside. That's the shape of the G. The Desdemona typeface. Then you have the Q, which is an O with a tail that leaves the surface, goes inside, comes back to the surface, and goes out into space. Did all those things happen by accident? Why is a country spelled the way it is? By moving the O out of the word Troy at the end, which when replaced puts it as cunt, Troy. Why is the IRS used in the word clitoris?
That's another root I see too. Is tor.
Li is bed in French. Tor is root. IRS is the tax collector who screws you. Why do you have the Dutch who run the Orange Revolution throughout the world spending so much time on a flower they call tulips? The second set of lips you'll find on a vagina. Why do you find another set of lips on the inside protecting the clitoris called the labia? Doesn't that sound like Libya?
Oh, yeah.
Isn't a Y and an A inversible?
Yeah.
Isn't all of what they're doing saying we're out to screw you?
Yeah.
And isn't that what they do?
No.
Every chance they get.
Every chance they get.
So there's another. I learned with the IRS, like those guys are like really, really skilled bankers. Very.
Well, it's funny that once they're retired and get a pension from the IRS, they show up at a place that offers to do your tax files for you, do your income tax. What is the most used outside tax preparer in the United States? What are they called? Who do you send your papers to?
Insurance, you say?
No. Who prepares your taxes for you?
Oh,
Accounting?
Isn't there a group in the United States, corporation, that hires all of these ex-IRS people to prepare your taxes, suggest to you that you'll save a fortune? Oh, I only paid $4,000 even though I owed them $50,000.
Yeah.
so what do they really mean? Like, you know, they have the IRS or CRA, or CCRA. They change their name, but when they say revenue, and you can look at it another way and say revenue.
They are the ones who collect the money, and at the same time make you feel that it's your duty. That you're benefiting from this.
Yeah.
That's what lawyers do. In my experience, going to court, what happened?
Control of your entire government, stolen all your natural resources, take a cut off all the labor that is expended by individuals, and they tell you it's for your own good.
They play word games.
Be like parents dealing with children.
Good tax-paying citizens.
Yeah.
Citizen.
Citizens. Zans meditate. They don't argue.
That's a good point.
They open up their brain to receiving remote control messages via radio without realizing that the word that fits at the end of radio is radioactive.
Whoa.
Dancer is what you get.
Go-go dancer?
They put you in a can. They put you in a can, which they call a pod, iPod.
Oh, yeah, by the way, Mike, you still there?
I don't think so.
Oh, he had a question. Forgot what it was exactly. It was relating to hermaphrodites. Forgot exactly what it was. But I don't know. I don't know. It seems like he can't. Trying to get to the bottom of something. He says, and I guess something in his mind he can't reconcile. I don't know. So read.
Well, there's a lot of people in the world who, when they see the evidence clearly in front of them, don't want to know anymore. Because it doesn't fit in the decisions they made before looking at the evidence. That's the problem we live with. Observe, analyze, conclude is supposed to be the journey. Conclude, analyze, and discount what most people do.
That's exactly. I know a girl just like that. Like you provide the evidence, and yet they answer. It's like if they answer they keep asking the same question over and over again. It's just like, and I think they're just like a danger to everybody. I don't know, because they just spread like their poison to everyone else, thinking it's the way it should be.
Like a loop, like an Ouroboros. Just keep going back over the same stuff over and over again without ever wanting to accept the evidence is overwhelming.
Yeah.
Substantial evidence, but it has passed the level of preponderance years ago.
Yeah. Well, it's something with the maybe linked to pride. I don't know, or ego. Just can't. I think that's connected to the medulla. Just can't like.
It's a program, and it's a program that the person would rather keep than throw out.
Well, a lot of people, what it is, they feel lowered, like they've been promulgating this, whatever is the program they believe in. It's too hard to let go. They're just too...
Like an alcoholic.
Exactly.
Cannot do anything for them. They must do it for themselves, and they don't want to.
Yeah, but I hear these people complain and complain and complain. I'm like, okay, you complain, here's the root to the problem. No.
Anyways, your job is not to twist people's arms.
Yeah, I don't. I learned, like you were saying, I think last week or the week before, you said don't even bother arguing, because that's what I noticed. Jenny mentioned that to me, too. She said that's what with you young people, like you feel like you have to debate these things. And I'm guilty of that. I've done that in the past. But, like, I see now I don't have to, like, especially with the premise, like this whole story, I don't feel like I have to debate it with people, because I've seen too much. It's like I'm past that. I'm past debate.
You've observed, you've analyzed, now.
Yep.
I'm concluding, but I'm still at the stage where there's a lot of things that I'm trying to learn. But as far as the picture, like, I'm concluded. I've been seeing evidence for 2 years now.
Well, you've been seeing evidence all along. Now you can just put it together.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I put it in the proper context.
You all knew it from the day you were born. You just had to recall it, analyze it, and put it back in its proper context.
Yeah.
What it offers is a premise on which you build your, they call it theology.
Unified theory of the universe, just of the world. Or whatever.
Mythology is just my theology.
Yeah.
Put it back
Yep.
and use it internally and speak it to those who haven't heard but don't spend any time arguing or allowing a person to take up your time, yes, butting you like a goat.
Yeah. Yeah, whatever happened, I want to ask, I remember you mentioned on the radio show, Desert Owl, you said that people should never argue over the evidence because they're not in a position really to give it to them.
Think of it as a trial. Don't go in as a member of the jury to sit there and argue. Go in to observe. Go home and analyze it. Then you go into the jury room and you present your view of things.
Yeah, you present the facts. Here's the facts.
And then you make your decision without thought to the other people in the room.
Yeah.
Supposed to do.
That's interesting you say that because in court, that's what most people, they call them debtors, they rather just go inside a courtroom. Just usually two debtors just arguing with each other. And it's not going anywhere. It's not. And
No, and it's time for me to go distribute some hay.
All right.
So have a good week.
Yeah?
Have a good week.
Yeah.
You too.
I hope that this is not going to be our turn.
Yeah.
It's still our hope that we may be able to do something about preventing this from happening and thus allowing everybody to tell us it wasn't going to happen in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the price we're prepared to pay.
Yeah, I'm happy with that price.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We'll talk to you again.
All right.
Bye for now.
All right. Bye.